Hey guys, how's it going? I'd like to say thank you to the Republicans for asking me to give a response to President Biden's speech, his farewell speech. And so, anyways, I think the best way to respond to it is just to do it play by play. So let's see what he has to say.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas.
Now, I can see right now he's just going to go on and on about how he did it, but I don't think that's quite right. It was actually President Trump, his envoy, that was twisting the arms of these people to get this done. President Trump said if a deal wasn't done by the time he took office, there would be hell to pay. So Hamas stood up and took notice. So they came to the table.
The elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team.
Now, you've been in there 4 years and you haven't done it, and you're leaving tomorrow, and all of a sudden your team put it together. But the only thing your team did was make it appear that the United States wouldn't back Israel, to the point where Hamas got emboldened, attacked Israel, and that was the whole purpose, the whole reason all this happened. People died. Children died, mothers died. I mean, it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy because of the way the Biden administration acts all the time.
And will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team.
Yeah, because you didn't do shit.
To keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be. Working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office.
Thank God.
From this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an ironworker.
How about not criminals? That'd be a start.
Installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom.
I wonder if those were illegal aliens, undocumented workers that they got, that they paid under the table.
The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not...
Did you know there's 2 statues of liberty? There's one in America and there's one in France.
Not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves. She was built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. An engineering marvel. The Statue of Liberty is also an enduring symbol of the soul of our nation. A soul shaped by forces that bring us together and by forces that pull us apart.
You know, these are pretty words. If they meant anything to him, it would be lovely, but they don't.
And yet, through good times and tough times, we've withstood it all. A nation of pioneers and explorers, of dreamers and doers, of ancestors native to this land, of ancestors who came by force, a nation of immigrants who came to build a better life, a nation holding the torch.
If I'm not mistaken, when they got off the ships at Ellis Island, they had to go through, and that's where they would show any of the documents they had, or they would get documents from the immigration workers. In fact, when they would come through, they would whop their hands. That's where they got the term "whop" at, from the documents or the information being whopped on their hands.
It's the most powerful idea ever in the history of the world, that all of us are created equal, that all of us deserve to be treated with dignity, justice, and fairness.
That's a good point. Think about the Democrats. The Democratic Party is a disgusting group, but what they do is they take people, and what's the first thing they do? They divide them into groups. White people, black people, Asians, Native Americans, and so forth. Gay, straight, so forth. And then what do? They drive a wedge in between each group. And then once they got that wedge in between them, they come up with reasons that they can fight with each other, such as the crap about police shooting black kids. I'm sure that that's happened. But 99% of the time, this black kid has a criminal record a mile long. He was in the middle of a crime, committing a crime, and so on and so on. But anyways, they use all kinds of reasons to drive wedges in between people. And then they turn around and say, well, we're all created equal.
Democracy must defend and be defined and be imposed, moved in every way possible. Our rights, our freedoms, our dreams. But we know the idea of America, our institution, our people, our values that uphold it are constantly being tested. Ongoing debates about power and the exercise of power. But whether we lead by the example of our power or the power of our example.
Lead by the example of our power.
Whether we show the courage to stand up to the abuse of power or we yield to it. After 50 years at the center of all of this, I know that believing in the idea of America means respecting the institutions that govern a free society. The presidency.
Respects the institution, such as the judicial institution.
Congress, the courts, a free and independent press.
Free and independent press. Now, I wonder when the Biden administration went to Facebook and got in their face and warned them to take all the pro-Republican stuff and the anti-Democrat stuff off, or all hell was going to break loose for them. I wonder if that's kind of freedom of the press. Even though they're not the press, I mean, they're getting to be that. And then you turn around and you secretly backdoor work with ABC News, CBS, NBC. What was that lady's name, Shalala, who got the questions from the, I think it was ABC debate, gave them to Hillary Clinton, said, here's the questions. This is what we're going to ask you during the debate. I wonder if that's freedom of the press.
Institutions that are rooted, they just might not reflect the timeless words, but they echo the words of the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident. Rooted in the timeless words of the Constitution, we the people. Our system of separation of powers, checks and balances.
Separation of powers, checks and balances. It's just unbelievable, this guy. He basically says, okay, we got the judicial system to take care of, keep in check the executive system or branch. And basically all they do is they distort the judicial system, create all kinds of, they basically want to lock people up in the executive side who are against them politically. Now, I don't agree with one thing the Democrats believe in or espouse, yet I would never want to get them locked up unless they committed a crime. But I wouldn't want to get them locked up just for being a Democrat. In fact, I love it when Democrats are talking. The more they talk, the better. Because it just, you realize how stupid they are after you listen to them for a while.
It may not be perfect, but it's maintained our democracy for nearly 250 years, longer than any other nation in history that's ever tried such a bold experiment. In the past 4 years,
you know, there's been a lot of countries like America. There's been like 5 or 6 that had constitutions like ours, and they all went under sooner or later. But that's why we had some changes to ours. But you know, like, we can get into it, but a straight democracy doesn't work. The United States of America is not a democracy. We're a republic.
our democracy is held strong. And every day I've kept my commitment to be president for all Americans through one of the toughest periods in our nation's history. I've had a great partner in Vice President Kamala Harris. It's been the honor of my life to see the resilience of essential workers getting us through a once-in-a-century pandemic, the heroism of service members and first responders keeping us safe,
Blah, blah,
the
blah.
determination of advocates standing up for our rights and our freedoms instead of losing their jobs to an economic crisis that we inherited. Millions of Americans now have the dignity of work. Millions of entrepreneurs and companies creating new businesses and industries, hiring American workers, using American products. And together, we've launched a new era of American possibilities.
You know, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the presidency. I mean, we're pretty lucky to have a president. I'm just being disrespectful of this joker. What a piece of crap.
One of the greatest modernizations of infrastructure in our entire history, from new roads, bridges, clean water, affordable high-speed internet for every American. We invented the semiconductor, smaller than the tip of my little finger, and now is bringing those chip factories and those jobs back to America where they belong, creating thousands of jobs.
Boy, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here, aren't they? They're just bringing up anything they can think of.
Finally, giving Medicare the power to negotiate lower prescription drug prices for millions of seniors. And finally, doing something to protect our children and our families by passing the most significant gun safety law in 30 years and bringing violent crime to a 50-year low, meeting our safety.
Violent crime to a 50-year low. Samuel Clemens said it best. There's lies, damn lies, and statistics. You can take a pile of statistics and make them say anything you want. That's basically what they've done. You got more violence out there now. I mean, just look at the metro in New York. You can't even ride it. Yet they're all going around, oh, it's so safe. But anyways, Mark Twain, Samuel Clemens.
Sacred obligation to over 1 million veterans so far who are exposed to toxic materials, and to their families, providing medical care and education benefits and more for their families. You know, it will take time to feel the full impact of all we've done together. But the seeds are
I hope to God not.
planted, and they'll grow and they'll bloom for decades to come. At home, we've created nearly 17 million new jobs, more than any other single administration.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. You have created more jobs. Now, where people used to only have to have one job, now they have to have 2 or 3 to make a living. A lot of the young people, I mean, they basically just go from job to job to job just to afford rent.
Single term. More people have health care than ever before. And over
Yeah, it's funny. I even heard this Democrat say the other day that maybe I did agree with a Democrat. She was saying our healthcare system is terrible. Well, I'm thinking, was it over 12 years? What's that? 16 years ago that they rolled in Obamacare. Not that long ago, but quite 12 years ago. You know, we used to have the greatest healthcare system in the world. Now when you go, it's almost kind of like you're dealing with destitute people. It's like they couldn't get a job as a waitress, so they're in healthcare.
Overseas, we've strengthened NATO. Ukraine is still free, and we pulled ahead of our competition with China.
I don't know if Ukraine's free. I mean, they might be free, but they sure are taking a beating. They might be winning and losing, but still, it's a hell of a fight. You know, if Trump was in there, that battle, that war never would have started. You think Putin was going to go into Ukraine like that with Trump as president? No, I don't think so.
And so much more. I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish,
please, I couldn't take much more of those accomplishments.
The incoming administration's success, because I want America to succeed. That's why I've held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example.
I think ever since Donald Trump won the electoral, that they've been doing everything humanly possible to make it hard on him. They've been passing all kinds of laws and changes and all, so that when Trump comes in, it's going to be very difficult. So now he's talking about the, make an easy transition.
I have no doubt that America's in a position to continue to succeed. That's why my farewell address tonight, I want to warn the country of some things that give me...
I got a name for this speech. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. So.
Great concern. This is a dangerous and that's a dangerous concentration of power.
Sorry, I'm not trying to sound so negative here. This guy just gets me in a negative mood for some reason.
In the hands of a very few ultra-wealthy people. And the dangerous consequences if their abuse of power is left unchecked. Today,
abuse of power left unchecked.
An oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire...
Yeah, we wouldn't want winners like Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We want people who are making, very successful. We wouldn't want them to be examples, not shining examples on the hill.
Our democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for...
Go ask Steve Bannon about freedom. What did you guys lock him up for? He just didn't want to go along with your BS?
Everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then and busted the trusts. They didn't punish them.
Now here's a guy that's literally lined his pocket with money from China. And he's talking to you about robber barons? I don't think so.
Wealthy. Just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to. Workers want rights to earn their fair share. They were dealt into the deal, and it helped put us on a path to building the largest middle class, the most prosperous century any nation in the world has ever seen.
How's that middle class treating you now? Seems like all I hear about is people complaining about the middle class. They try to go, shopping. Can't even fill the shopping cart full of food.
We've got to do that again. In the last 4 years, that is exactly what we've done. People should be able to make as much as they can, but play by the same rules. Pay their fair...
I wonder if Hunter Biden was playing by the same rules. You think he was up and up?
fair share of taxes. So much is at stake.
I'm not sure how you can even talk about Hunter Biden and taxes.
Right now, the existential threat of climate change has never been clearer. Just look across the country.
Climate change is the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on the citizens of the United States and the world, but especially America. You know, like the LA fires, the climate change has been made to have, you got two buckets. You got the excuse bucket and the tax bucket, tax and penalties. And that's the whole reason the government created climate change, is so they would, something went wrong, they say, oh, that's climate change problem. LA fires, oh, that's climate change. And anytime they want to tax you, oh, we got to have a carbon tax here. I mean, Al Gore, he's like the father of climate change, right? He's worth like over $330 million now. Where'd all that money come from? His government job? I don't think so. Just going around talking about climate change. He's all about climate change. I wonder how much of that money he's given away to help the climate.
From California to North Carolina. That's why I signed the most significant climate and clean energy law ever in the history of the world, and the rest of the world is trying to model it now. It's working, creating jobs and industries of the future. Now, we've proven we don't have to choose between protecting.
Yeah, we're really building the solar industry. You remember that company? The United States gave them like $600 million, and they were building solar cells. Well, they did quite well for quite a while. They were building those solar cells as fast as they could make them. The problem was it was costing them $6 to make them, and they were selling them for $3. So everything was great until they ran out of that $600 million, and then they said, sorry, got to stop now. So this is after all the politicians got plenty of money out of it, and all the executives of the corporation got plenty of money. At some point, they said, got to give up now.
In the environment and growing the economy. We're doing both. The powerful forces want to wield their unchecked influence to eliminate the steps we've taken to tackle the climate crisis, to serve their own interest for power and profit. We must not.
Even the guy that won the Nobel Prize on climate change said it was a hoax. A lot of professors and so forth, in colleges and universities, they were scared to death to come out and say anything against climate change. Why? All their funding would be cut out. They'd be fired in a heartbeat because the universities were firing, because the universities were scared to death. It was the Biden administration was, you either do it our way or
be bullied into sacrificing the future of our children and our grandchildren. We must keep pushing forward and push faster. There's no time to waste. It's also clear that American leadership in technology is an unparalleled source of innovation that can transform lives. We see the same dangers of the concentration of technology, power, and wealth. His farewell address, President Eisenhower spoke of the dangers of the military-industrial complex. He warned us then about, and I quote, the potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power, end of quote. 6 days later,
misplaced power.
6 decades later, I'm equally concerned about the potential rise of a tech-industrial complex that could pose real dangers for our country as well. Americans are being buried under an avalanche of misinformation and disinformation.
It's always misinformation if it's against the Democrats. I mean, look at all the crap that he did. Basically, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, all the big corporations, media corporations, are anti-Republican. Now, Fox came around, and Fox was created because everybody realized that all the media was so dad blame Democrat and liberal that they had to have something else. So Fox was created to be right. But it's about in the middle, to be honest with you, though.
Enabling the abuse of power. The free press is crumbling. Editors are disappearing.
Free press is crumbling because people working in their homes and offices are creating programs like this because they got sick of the media.
Social media is giving up on fact-checking. The truth is smothered by lies told for power and for profit.
Yeah, they can't keep up with us. That's the problem. You know, every time they'll tell a lie, there'll be 100 truths told on the other side.
We must hold the social platforms accountable.
That's a code for we got to shut them up.
To protect our children, our family.
Got to protect the children. The Democrats are always, we got to protect the children. Now, they can't educate them. Have you seen the educational system that the Democrats created? It's just terrible. I think in the state I'm in, if a child starts to school, they have less than a 65% chance of graduating high school. I mean, that's unbelievable.
And their very democracy from the abuse of power. Meanwhile, artificial intelligence is the most consequential technology of our time, perhaps of all time. Nothing offers more profound possibilities and risks for our economy and our security, our society, for humanity.
What the hell is he talking about AI for on his farewell speech? But I got a feeling he's kind of trying to jab Elon Musk there.
Artificial intelligence even has the potential to help us answer my call to end cancer as we know it. But unless safeguards are in place, AI could spawn new threats to our rights, our way of life, to our privacy, how we work and how we protect our nation. We must make sure AI is safe and trustworthy and good for all humankind. In the age of AI, it's more important than ever that the people must govern. And as the land of liberty, America, not China, must lead the world in the development of AI. You know, in the years ahead, it's going to be up to the president, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, the free press, and the American people to confront these powerful
Can't forget the American people in there.
Forces. We must reform the tax code, not by giving the biggest tax cuts to billionaires.
You've been saying reform the tax code for 50 years, and all you've done is made it complicated as hell. I mean, people who do it as a professional business can't even understand it. It just changes so fast they don't know. Donald Trump had it right. He says, I want the tax code to be something you can put all on one sheet of paper and that you can do easily in one day.
But by making them begin to pay their fair share. We need to get dark money. That's that hidden funding behind too many campaigns contributions.
Oh, really? I wonder how much dark money he got.
We need to get it out of our politics. We need to enact an 18-year time and term, for the strongest ethics reforms for our Supreme Court.
Oh, now they want term limits for the Supreme Court. Well, the whole reason the Supreme Court doesn't have term limits is so that politicians like him can't force him to vote one way or the other. And if you also notice, he's not saying anything about the Senate. I think the Senate's who needs term limits. You know, get you 6 years and you're out of there. Get you maybe a couple of 3-year, 2-year, 4-year terms, whatever, and you're out of there. But senators, I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes our country ever had, was we didn't have term limits on senators.
We need to ban members of Congress from trading stock while they're in the Congress.
That's a great idea. Ban them from doing it. You've been in there 4 years. Why didn't you do that? Because you have zero interest in doing it. Nancy Pelosi is up there buried in a mountain of stocks. You think you're going to get her to get rid of her stocks? I don't think so. So it's just all a bunch of talk from these people.
We need to amend the Constitution to make clear that no president is immune from crimes that he or she commits while in office.
That sounds like a good deal to me. I have no problem with that. But that's not what the Supreme Court said. Supreme Court didn't say that, oh, you could get by if you committed crime. They just said that you had certain rights while you were in there. But, if the president goes out and, beats somebody up, he better be able to show that he was in the right. If he takes a gun, goes down to 7-Eleven and robs it, he better prove he was in the right for some reason, which I don't think he could, but you get the point.
The president's power is not limited. It's not absolute, and it shouldn't be. And in a democracy, there's another danger to the concentration of power and wealth.
I can't wait to hear what he's got to say.
Erodes a sense of unity and common purpose. It causes distrust and division. Participating in our democracy becomes exhausting and even disillusioning. And people don't feel like they have a fair shot. We have to stay.
Now, that's a good point. I think the average American doesn't think they have a good shot because they got to deal with idiots like this.
Engaged in the process. I know it's frustrating.
Donald Trump said it perfectly. He says, when they're going after him with all those fake crimes, he says, don't forget, they're actually coming after you. They just need to come through me first. He says that, if you think about it, if you're a corporation thinking about moving to New York, I'd highly warn you against that. Do you think New York is going to give up the golden goose that they've got? I mean, they got a great way to make money up there. If you're a small business or a medium business, even large business, you'll get a letter one day or somebody knocking on your door saying, we don't think you're doing this here right, so you need to give us a little money. And if not, they'll just make up some kind of crime against you. And they'll make you pay a fee. They'll look at you and say, now, what's the very most that guy can pay us? And that's what your fee will be. So if you're average Joe on the street, it might be $5,000, $10,000. If you're a medium-sized business, $50,000. If you're a large company, $50 million. Why not? They don't have to have a law now. They just make up a crime. They don't have to penalty based on anything. They just make it up. So, all that stuff's not going to stop with Trump. It's just that's the beginning.
A fair shot is what makes America America. Everyone's entitled to a fair shot, not a guarantee, but just a fair shot, an even playing field, going as far as your hard work and talent can take you. We can never lose that essential truth, remain who we are. I've always believed, and I've told other world leaders, America can be defined by one word: possibilities. Only in America.
Unless it's the Biden administration. And it's defined by one word: corruption.
Do we believe anything is possible? Like a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and Claremont, Delaware, sitting behind this desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States. That's the magic of America. It's all around us. Upstairs in the residence of the White House,
there's cocaine on the table.
Walked by a painting of the Statue of Liberty, I don't know how many times. In the painting There's several workers climbing on the outstretched arm of the statue that holds the torch. It reminds me every day I pass it of the story and soul of our nation and the power of the American people. There's a story of a veteran. This is a veteran, the son of an immigrant.
Now, is this one of the veterans? Remember those 13 veterans that were killed in Iraq during the big leave? That you never said anything to their family or showed them any respect at all. Is this the veterans you're talking about?
Whose job was to climb that torch and polish the amber panes so rays of light could reach out as far as possible. He was known as the keeper of the flame. He once said of the Statue of Liberty, quote, speaks a silent universal language, one of hope that anyone who seeks and speaks freedom can understand. Yes.
I wonder if Hunter Biden's laptop, I wonder if it gave off any kind of illumination. You know, you open that thing up, any kind of light or whatever. Good.
We sway back and forth to withstand the fury of the storm, to stand the test of time. A constant struggle, a short distance between peril and possibility. But what I believe is the America of our dreams is always closer than we think. It's up to us to make our dreams come true. Let me close.
Thank God. I can't take much more of this, guy. Sorry.
Stating my gratitude to so many people, to the members of my administration,
to the FBI who raided Mar-a-Lago so they could get some crime or corruption against Trump, to the fake tribunals that went on against the J6ers in an attempt to make Trump look bad, to the families that were arrested for going to church during COVID. You know, I could go on and on.
As well as public service and first responders across the country and around the world. Thank you for stepping up to serve. To our service members and your families, it's been the highest honor of my life to lead you as Commander-in-Chief.
Well, it would have been nice if you had honored, again, those 13 that died leaving Afghanistan.
And of course to Kamala and our incredible partner, the historic Vice President.
America's biggest loser.
She and Doug have become like family, and to me, family's everything. My deepest appreciation to our amazing First Lady who was with me in the Oval today, for our entire family. You're the love of my life and the lives of my love.
I'm sorry.
My eternal thanks to you, the American people. After 50 years of public service, I give you my word.
Gosh, I can imagine what another 50 years of this crackhead would do to America.
I still believe in the idea for which this nation stands. A nation where the strength of our institutions and the character of our people matter and must endure. Now it's your turn to
Well, guys, I'm starting to feel pretty good now. I mean, it's almost over.
stand guard. May you all be the keeper of the flame. May you
keep her the laptop.
The faith. I love America. You love it too.
Yeah.
God bless you all. And may God protect our troops. Thank you for this great honor.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys. So, anyways, don't mean to be so negative on about. Well, I do mean to be negative against this guy. What a piece of crap this guy was. I really do believe he's going to go down in history as the worst president this country ever had. I'm talking about modern or historical. You know, up until now, I always thought Jimmy Carter was the worst president. Now, don't get me wrong. Jimmy Carter was actually a very nice man, very good man. I met him a couple of times. Just as nice as you could be. He taught Sunday school, did a lot of things. So he was a good man. The problem was he was a crappy president. You know, to be a good president, you got to be kind of a shit sometimes. You know, you got to be the kind of guy that your enemies say, I don't know if I want to deal with this guy or not. You think Putin wants to deal with Trump? I don't think so. You think China wants to deal with Trump? I don't think so. But they didn't, you know. Hell, Carter was giving away the Panama Canal. I think he sold it for $1. You know, the country of Panama wouldn't even have existed if it wasn't for America. It was originally Colombia, and we were trying to build a canal, and Colombia wouldn't talk with us, wouldn't deal with us, negotiate. So we helped the rebels of Panama create their own country. After that, we got a canal through there. Now, you might say, oh, well, that was ethical or not. I don't know. But anyways, it was our canal. So there you go. I appreciate the opportunity to give the response. If you agree with me, great. If you disagree with me, great. Just leave them in the comments. But if you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would appreciate it. See you next time.